Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the award winning Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards in Matters of the Heart. Both books are published by Llewellyn and are available online. And if you like my empowering approach to tarot, you're really going to get a lot out of these books. It is time for this week's Oracle reveal. So, yesterday on my social media, I placed up a photo of 3 different animals, and I asked you to use your intuition and ask yourself which animal's calling to you, because that animal has your message. And the 3 animals were the mouse, the humpback whale, and the wolverine. So if you're just joining me now, ask yourself which animal's getting caught in your head. It doesn't have to be your favorite animal. It just has to be the one that's nudging at your attention, because that animal has your message. So for the first animal, we have the mouse card, and the card says you're overlooking some important details. So pay closer attention to what's going on. And mouse is all about the details. The details do matter. And this could be a time this week where you really need to focus on some of those small, nitpicky little things. I don't know about you, but I really am a big stroke sort of person. I like to see the big picture. I like to have that rough idea. I like big ideas. But yet, that mouse card is so important for us sometimes to refine, to hone our ideas, to make them more practical, and sometimes to even identify things that are getting off course. So, this is a time to just circle back, pay attention to those details, because that's going to be so useful to you for this next week. First card for mouse is where it's best to place your focus. And we get the judgment card. And the angel of judgment blows the trumpet, and all the dead rise out of the grave again. And what this can be a symbol of for you is rebirth, reawakening. Whenever I think of the judgment card, I think of the phoenix that rises out of the ashes. And so too for the mouse, this could be a week where you're starting to wake up. You might start to feel like you're stirring back to life. There's also the sense of motivation that's returning to you when the judgment card appears. But there's an alertness. There's a being awake to what's going on around you instead of just sleepwalking through life. So I just feel for judgment this next week, it's time to be alert, awake, pay attention. And also angels in the tarot, they can often be messengers from our higher self, from our spirit. And the angel of judgment could be a messenger from your own spirit. It could be a time to wake up, listen to what it's telling you to do. It's time to maybe reconnect with your spirit. Maybe it's time to do a reading or focus on some sort of a ritual in your life that really opens you up to that divine guidance. Next, we have advice from your inner wisdom if you pick the mouse, and we have another magical card of new beginnings with the Ace of Wands. And when I think of the Ace of Wands, I just think of that magic wand that's being offered to you right now. All aces in the tarot have to do with new beginnings, new inspiration. And in the case of the Ace of Wands, this could be a time where you're branching out into new ideas. The wand suit in the tarot has those little leaves. They're like tree branches. They represent organic growth. And so something's coming to life again for you. And especially in the northern hemisphere, it's right in time for spring. So I just feel with the mouse, yes, pay attention to the details, but also be paying attention to some of these new ideas, the sense of reawakening or rebirth or renewal that's going on around you as well. And also the Ace of Wands card can just indicate that this is a more magical time. It might be a time to really set your intentions. And then we have the mythic archetype that's going to help you if you pick the mouse this week, and we see Hathor. She is the Egyptian god of love and beauty, or goddess, I should say. And what this could indicate is that this is going to be a week where what might be reawakened in your life is that sense of pleasure, falling in love with your life again, feeling inspired about what's in front of you. Also, Hathor is the goddess of beauty, so it could be a time to create something beautiful, especially with these very creative cards. But I just feel like this is a week of awakening, potential, rebirth, resilience, and also just this sense of love, harmony, and balance being restored for the mouse. Next, we have the Humpback Whale, and this card says music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening. And the Humpback Whale, it does sing the songs under the water, and this could be a time where sound is really powerful for you. This might also be a time when you're just more sensitive to sound. So you may want to be very conscious aware of what you're ingesting in your ears, not opening yourself up to just a stream of media, whether it's social media or even just watching the news all the time or whatever. It might be a time to really be selective about what you're allowing in your ears. It could also be a time where you're really looking towards sound frequencies for healing, for restoring harmony in your own life. First card for the whale is where it's best to place your focus this next week. And we do got that Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups can sometimes have to do with a need to focus on your gains instead of your losses. Sometimes this card says that it's so easy this next week to ruminate. And it's so easy as well to focus on the negative, what's not working, what's frustrating you, or what you might even be ingesting in your environment that's making you feel depleted, hopeless about the world, hopeless about what might happen in the future. And instead, it's time to redirect yourself toward what you can do to improve your life and also to make the world a better place. And I feel like focusing on love, focusing on the positive, focusing on what's empowered within you, and being an example of that is going to be so important this next week. The Five of Cups will always tell you to turn off the spigot to ruminating thoughts that are making you run in circles in your head, making you feel hopeless, or making you focus on what's dysfunctional. And instead, it's time to focus on what's working. The advice from your inner wisdom this next week, if you pick the Humpback Whale, is the Four of Wands. And this is a card of socializing, connection. It's also a party card. It can indicate that it's time for you to find some levity. It might also be time for you to connect with people who just make you feel good. So there really is this contrast between the Five of Cups and the Four of Wands. There is a choice. It's like, yeah, you can stay in the doldrums. You can stay focused on that negative thing, or you can remember to reconnect with what brings you joy and also who brings you joy. This might be a time to use humor or even to be around people that make you laugh, make you feel happy in some way. But I just feel like it's time to reconnect. Isolation is not going to be your friend if you pick the Humpback Whale this next week. Instead, it's time to focus on connection and finding those people who leave you feeling good. And then finally, the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week, if you pick the Humpback Whale, is Heka. And in ancient Egypt, Heka is the god of magic. That's what Heka means. It means magic. And so this could be a time where you're really conscious of the energy flows around you. You're really redirecting your magic toward manifesting what you want. It's very interesting, but our thoughts are magic spells. And where we fixate, where we put our focus, is what we get. It perpetuates our reality. And Heka could be telling you this next week, it's time to refocus your magic toward what you want more of in your life. Maybe it's time to cut out a big, beautiful picture of yourself and put it in the middle of a vision board and cut out all the pictures and the words of the things you want to attract to yourself this next week. But it's time to start manifesting what you want and not focusing so diligently on those things you don't want anymore, because you're in control of what you're bringing into your reality this next week. And then finally, we have the Wolverine animal. And this card says, you're a lot tougher than you think. And Wolverine is that animal of resilience. It's a fighter animal. But it could also be an animal that's telling you that you want to pick your battles this next week. You don't want to sweat everything. You don't want to be in a combative posture against all that's going on in life. Instead, you really want to pay attention to what you're fighting for. What's important. And yes, when it's important to take a stand, absolutely do that. But make sure that you're not getting triggered or feeling like you have to ingest every moment into a combative battle for your point of view to get heard. First card for Wolverine is where it's best to place your focus this next week. And we got the Ace of Cups. And if you look up this card online or in many tarot books, the key word that comes along with it is love. It's an ace, which indicates that this is a time of new beginnings. And it might be a time to really open your heart to love. Also, in contrast with that Wolverine spirit, it might be a time to fight for what you love or protect what you love, especially in yourself. But it also might be a time to turn to love, to fight your battles for you. It's very interesting, but when we turn to love instead of hatred, a magical thing starts to happen. Suddenly, the energy starts to shift in other people that we might feel conflict with. And it also really shifts within our own heart, within our own head, our own personal existence. Second card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom. And we have that wise messenger of the hermit from the pagan otherworlds tarot. The hermit card can indicate that at this time, if you pick the Wolverine, you may feel like you have to fight for something. Maybe there's something triggering a fear for you. And yet the hermit tells you you don't need to be afraid, even when you're going through the dark. You have that lantern of inner wisdom that the hermit is holding. And although you can't see the whole path through the dark clearly at this time, the hermit encourages you to look at where the light is illuminating right now. You have enough information right now to know at least the next step to take. So don't borrow the future trouble of what's the step after that, and what's going to happen in 3 months, in 2 weeks, whatever. It's time to just take the step that's in front of you, and that lantern will illuminate the next step after that, and so on and so forth until you find your way out of the dark. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week is Khepri, or Khepra. He is the scarab-headed beetle god, and what the beetle symbolized to the ancient Egyptians was the rising sun, rebirth, and renewal. And I just feel like it's so appropriate after the hermit, where he's going through the dark, he's going through the night, he's going into the dark places. And then there is that sense that the sun is going to rise again. There's a rebirth that's assured. There's a renewal that you're working toward. And it's going to somehow affect your heart, your joy, your sense of happiness and fulfillment. And so it's time to get back on track and find your way through the dark by trusting your own inner wisdom. And just know that a new day is about to dawn. And that is this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can always schedule a one-on-one tarot session with me at elliotoracle.com. I also have signed copies of my books, Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, available there. And I even write a little message in each book and inscribe it personally to you, and pick a card and tell you what I think that card might mean for you at this stage of your journey. I hope you have a wonderful week, whatever it is that you're doing, and you can be sure to see me here again next week, so do take care. And also, if you find this video useful, do share, like, subscribe, all that jazz as well. Hope to see you again here next time, so do take care.